One. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch for a detailed look at your Colorado weather forecast, and we are also going to take one climate-related question. We got a really good question today. Pretty excited to get into that here in the next few minutes. Let's start things out with what we're seeing right now and what we saw earlier on this morning. We actually did see, yes, a little bit in the way of snow earlier on this morning around parts of the area. Saw some flurries in Denver. It did not officially accumulate at DIA or really anywhere here in Denver, but some spots did pick up maybe a tenth of an inch, a couple tenths of an inch, and in fact in Fort Collins getting close to a full inch of snowfall. But again, that snowless streak here in Denver does continue. What you're looking at here, this is Rocky Mountain National Park, is some of the smoke from the Kruger Rock fire, this just to the south and east of Estes Park, where unfortunately we are still talking about that fire that does continue to burn. But a little bit of good news, the weather today is much more favorable for firefighting conditions out in that part of the state compared to what we saw yesterday. Unfortunately, as we get into your day tomorrow, those conditions will get worse once again. And folks, we're going to enter in this continued prolonged pattern here of this just kind of gusty winds, some afternoon clouds, some of the mountain wave clouds, but again, gusty winds, a dry air mass, and warmer than average temperatures. That pattern is really pretty much going to hold through the upcoming weekend and to the early, maybe even mid part of next week before we do see some big time changes, perhaps by your Wednesday to Thanksgiving. Wind gusts right now, not nearly as bad as what we saw yesterday, but we still do have some gusty winds out along the eastern plains, some spots getting close to 30 miles an hour. The winds won't be an issue for today, but tomorrow, watch those winds really pick on up as we get into tomorrow night. Nederland with a possible 60-plus mile-an-hour wind gust. Again, those winds do really whip back up as we get into your day tomorrow. But in the meantime, for your day today, this is a closer look in at the Kruger Rock fire, where, again, it looks like today we've got a combination of calm winds, much colder temperatures, and also a much more moist air mass. Relative humidity levels are on the high side, so that is all good news, and that should help out firefighters in terms of fighting those conditions. Now, current temperatures right now here into Denver, 34 degrees. That is slightly different from this time yesterday. 36 degrees colder than this time yesterday. We were at 70. Now it's at 34. You know what? At least here into the Denver area, I guess the good news here is it does actually feel like fall. The end of fall now. It's the middle part of November, so yesterday we were in the low 70s. That was certainly weird, to say the least. Mountains not feeling quite as much of a cool down, but certainly a bit chillier even into our friends, for our friends in the higher terrain. Teens still for us here into some of the foothill areas just outside of Denver. Evergreen 18, 19 Conifer, 34 Greeley, where again you picked up about a half inch of snow this morning. 34 at DIA, and here in downtown 33 degrees, 29 Centennial, where there was also a dusting of snow for us in southern Arapahoe County as well as in the northern parts of Douglas County earlier on this morning. Forecast highs for today, we're going to go with about 41 here in Denver, 38 Arvada, 39 Boulder, 36 West Creek, 35 Parker, and 41 Platteville. So most of us still feeling some of those colder conditions we had through the day. Today shouldn't feel quite as bad though, because of that sunshine coming out. There's no wind, so it won't feel bitterly cold for your day today. So again, at the very least, it's gonna feel a bit more fall-like, maybe more early winter-like, but it won't be all that bad, I would say. Now, forecast in terms of the cloud cover, don't have a lot of that, but we do maybe see a few increasing clouds as we get into your day tomorrow. High temperatures getting up into the mid-50s, so hey, we've got that going for us as well. It'll be a bit warmer. Winds in Denver won't be an issue, but the foothills tomorrow night, we'll see those winds kick on up as we get that northwest flow, that persistent pattern that we've dealt with for the last 2-3 weeks. That will kick back in tomorrow night, so that's why those winds will drive back up again. But those temperatures getting up into the mid-50s here in Denver, that's actually a couple degrees above where we should be for this time of year. Now, you might be wondering, our next chance for any meaningful rain or snow, that will come on Saturday with a very weak system that drops its way on through. It looks to be a bit too warm for us again in Denver and along the I-25 corridor for any snowfall. Looks like some light rain showers. The mountains, some snow, maybe another 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inch kind of snow event for us into the mountains. It doesn't look like a big deal in the mountains, but hey, we'll take whatever we can get really statewide. But then by Sunday, it clears on out. For your highs tomorrow, a lot of 30s and 40s in the mountains, 50s for us in eastern parts of the state. The forecast highs for tomorrow: 54 Denver, 44 Netherland, 51 Longmont, 49 Greeley, and 55 in Fort Morgan. Now, one thing we still haven't seen yet, even through yesterday, we still haven't had measurable snowfall here, and we are getting very close to that latest first measurable snowfall date of November the 21st. That took place back in 1934. It is now, of course, November the 17th, and November the 21st is on Sunday. So we're getting closer and closer to that latest first measurable snowfall date. And you know what here, folks? If we don't see any snow, any measurable snow on Saturday night, which looks very unlikely with that weak system that drops way on through, we will not get any measurable snowfall before that that latest first measurable snowfall date, so we will eclipse that record almost without a doubt here, folks. I would say it's a 90% plus odds at this point that we are looking like we are going to break that record. Tomorrow, though, again, mid-50s for us, not all that bad. We will have some cloud cover around, and as we head through that 7-day forecast, we do get back up into the low to mid-60s for us on Friday. Saturday, there's that chance we'll leave the snowflake in there. We'll leave it in there. We'll leave it in there. But I wouldn't exactly hold your breath if you're looking for measurable snowfall here in Denver. It just doesn't look that likely. The system is too weak. It's also too warm here in Denver. And then 66 next Tuesday. So if you're looking for fall, you might want to fly up to southern Canada where they saw a lot of snow yesterday. So that's where you can find winter. But here in Denver, winter and even fall, or aside from today, fall is kind of remaining elusive for us in around the Front Range. So another thing we've been doing here at our 11 o'clock detailed Colorado weather forecast is we are taking your climate-related questions on a daily basis. We got a really good one. I kind of mentioned this at the top, but got a great question here from Chris Barnes in Lafayette, who asks, is Colorado experiencing more of a profound effect of climate change when compared to other states? It definitely feels hotter, drier, and more, quote, dangerous here, but that might be my own perception. Thank you. So again, the question from Chris Barnes here, and it is a fantastic one. Is Colorado feeling more of a profound effect of climate change compared to other states? The quick answer, and it's a pretty clear one, is yes, for two key reasons. One, and the most important factor of it, is Colorado and where we live here in the Centennial State. We are living in a dry place, right? Obviously, this is not the East Coast or even the Pacific Northwest, where those areas get 25, 30, 40 inches of rain a year. Here in Denver, we average about 14 inches of rain per year. And the trend from climate change is that we have trended drier here in Colorado. And specifically, the southern and western parts of the state have felt that change in the last 100 years more than eastern Colorado, but even here in Denver, we've trended a bit drier in the last 50, 60 years compared to the previous cycle. So we've trended drier. And the reason I bring up the fact that we are drier here in Colorado as a climate and as a whole, when you get, for example, 1 inch less of rain here in Denver, that matters a lot more than, say, New York City getting 2 inches more or 2 inches less of moisture, because New York City gets 40, 45 inches of rain a year. You get 2 inches more, 2 inches less. It's just not going to be felt as much as 1 inch more in a climate that gets 14 inches of rain than a place that gets 40 inches of rain a year. If that makes sense, the impact is more profound here in Denver and Colorado. Another thing is, yes, we are also trending on the warmer side here in Colorado compared to other states. I would say that the entire western third of the U.S., so California on north into Washington State, on east into Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, our part of the country, the western third of it, has felt the warming climate a bit more than places further east. And the reason for that is fairly simple. Because the western third of the country is the driest third of the country, there's less moisture in general, and there's less vegetation in general. So there's less in the way of, when you get warmer days, it tends to kind of sit in the ground a bit more, and you tend to feel it. It's just you've got a bit more of a drier climate. So again, you'll feel it a bit more here in Colorado. So for example, here in Colorado, we're about 2.5 degrees warmer on average than we were about 120 years ago. States further east, that temperature differential is closer to 1.5 to 2 degrees. So in two different aspects, to answer your question here, Chris, yes, we are feeling climate change more here in Colorado for two key reasons. One would be, yes, we are a bit warmer than other places because of what I mentioned, but two, and the more important component, is that we also are trending a bit drier. Here in Denver, again, we are a little bit drier, but it's really western and southern Colorado. So the San Luis Valley, for example, Pueblo, Walsenburg, on east to, say, Springfield, Lamar, that part of Colorado is really feeling the impacts of climate change. It is noticeably drier in that part of the state compared to what it was 100 years ago, with about an inch and a half less precipitation over the last 100 years compared to what we had about 100 years ago. So droughts are becoming more common. That unfortunately leads to more wildfires, less agriculture, and a lot of those domino effect impacts from that. But again, that is a great question that came in from Chris Barnes from Lafayette, and really do appreciate that one. Of course, we'll take a question of yours about climate change every day here on 9 News Watch. Going to leave you with one last look here at the 7-day forecast, which will be featuring after today a lot more warmer than average temperatures with a slight chance for rain or snow on Saturday. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Watch. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi in the 9 News Weather Center, and have a great rest of your day.